let's talk shoe rotations. So one thing that I did really differently this time around in terms of marathon training was I actually had a shoe rotation. I'm pretty sure that last year I ran most of my miles in a pair of New Balance 1080s. They probably would have been the V12s. And then towards the end, I did some speed workouts in my race day shoes, which were the New Balance Super Comp Elite V3. So something I wanted to do this year, because I heard a lot about the benefits, was actually implement a shoe rotation. From my knowledge and from what I've gathered, shoe rotations can be helpful. So that you are giving your shoes a break in between runs and giving the foam a break, but also so that you are using shoes that are actually meant for the run that you are going on, whether that's a speed workout or an easy run or a long run or recovery or whatever that might be. And then lastly, I think it can also help prevent injuries because you're switching up what type of shoe you're wearing. You're not like repetitively using those same muscles or putting stress on that part of your body that shoe puts stress on. I know it's very non-specific, but basically seems like a shoe rotation is a good idea. Now, I understand that financially, all of this might not be possible. I will say that I have acquired shoes over time. So I didn't like go to the running store at the beginning of this marathon block and just like buy 5 pairs of shoes. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of this marathon training cycle and talk about what I was using when I first started. So the 2 pairs of shoes that I started this marathon training cycle with are a pair of New Balance 1080 V14s and a pair of Asics Novablast 4s. I was using these Novablasts for any kind of like hill workout, speed workout. They have this kind of like pod in the forefoot of them that I feel like gives me a little bit of a push in terms of speed. So I was wearing these for all of those speed workouts that I was doing in the beginning of my marathon training. I will say that these feel a little clunky to me sometimes, and so I don't tend to wear them on slower runs because I don't feel like I'm hitting the right part of my foot in them all the time. This is my first pair of Asics that I ever bought, and I have loved the upper on these, A+++. The other pair of shoes I had are these New Balance 1080 V14s. So these I was wearing for long runs, easy runs, and what made me buy new shoes that I'll get to in a second is that these were starting to get up in their mileage count. So typically I think a pair of shoes can go anywhere between 300 and 500 miles. It just depends on them and how you're feeling in them. So these are just really comfy. Every time I wear them, I just feel like I'm gonna get a comfortable ride. And that's why these were my long run shoes, my easy run shoes, my recovery shoes, whereas I use those Novablast for some speed. So as of right now, these New Balance 1080 V14 have 348 miles on them, which is just insane. I'm still wearing them, they still feel good, but keeping these now to short runs, like 3, 4, 5 miles. These Novablasts have about 180 miles on them, so still got a long time in these shoes. Now I'm wearing them for kind of mid-length runs, so 5, 6, 7, 8 miles. I've been putting these on. So these were sort of like my base shoes that I had at the beginning of this marathon training block, and I'm still wearing them, but just for shorter miles. So once I realized that those New Balance shoes were really getting up there, I went to iRun and I wanted to actually get a long run shoe. So that's where these Brooks Hyperion Max 2s come in. These have been amazing. I put about 85 miles on these shoes so far, mostly in long runs. These are a really versatile shoe. I took these with me to Colorado when I had to do those marathon pace miles and an easy run. I was super, super comfortable in them and felt great putting them on, even when my feet were tired after the wedding, after wearing heels all night. So this is my long run shoe. Also can double as sort of a whatever you need it to function as type shoe. This will be my backup shoe that I'm taking to New York City with me that I'll probably do my shakeout run in. So that's this shoe. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I have the New Balance SC Elite V3. These have about 150 miles on them, so I'm not racing in these. These I still run in every now and again. I'll use them for like shorter races, 5Ks, 10Ks. They still have a life in them. I just don't necessarily trust them for the whole 26.2 miles. So we've gone through my everyday shoe, my speed work shoe, long run shoe. Now we get to the race day shoe. These are the New Balance SC Elite V4s. I've run in these for probably about 50 miles over the last month or so. They feel better every single time I run in them, and I'm super excited to toe the line in these in New York City. So these are my race day shoes. I've done one 20-mile long run in them, but other than that, I've done less than 10 miles out in them per time I've gone out. So trying to keep the amount of time that I'm running in them low before the marathon so they're nice and fresh. They have a carbon plate in the bottom. That's my shoe rotation. It's very exciting. To recap, shoe rotations have been a really, really great tool for me this marathon training cycle. Everyday shoes, I've been wearing the New Balance 1080s V13. When I was first starting out and didn't have really a speed shoe, I was using the Novablast 4s. Still wearing that now for some everyday runs. I have the Brooks Hyperion Max 2 for my long runs, but can also double for some regular runs and some runs that have marathon pace in them. And then lastly, for race day, I have the New Balance Super Comp Elite. That's what I got. I will say I have really enjoyed running in shoes from different brands. I have New Balance, I have Asics, I have Brooks. It's really nice to kind of switch out the levels of comfort, the squishiness of the foam, the different rockers, how it fits on your foot, how you feel in it when you're running. So I really enjoyed that. It's given me like something fresh to put on my feet every day. And I really do feel like that's made a difference. I am not a running shoe expert. I really just know what has worked for me. So I really encourage you, go into a store and get fitted. There's nothing that equals that experience of going into a local running store, trusting the person that's fitting you and your shoes, and having them give you some advice. That's my running shoe rotation. I hope this has been helpful, but please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or comments. I love being able to interact with all of you here on my channel. I typically put out my recap videos of my training every Wednesday. Stay tuned. We got some exciting stuff coming up.